Lesson 12.3. Now this lesson is going to be a little different than the other lessons because there's not really any new skills that are being taught, but we need to take the skills we've learned and apply them into some problem-solving questions. So let's look at this first question. Shown on the left, there are 27 cubes that were glued together to form one larger cube. Then all 6 faces of the larger cube were painted. And then we have 2 questions with that. How many cubes have paint on just one face? And how many cubes have paint on 2 faces? I want you to pause the video and then try to figure out if you can answer those 2 questions. Alright, great. Glad you were able to work those out. Let's look at the first one. How many cubes have paint on just one face? As we look at this closely, if I were to take this cube off, it would have paint on this side, the top side, and this left side. So that obviously wouldn't work. If I take this cube off, it's going to have paint on the top and on the side. The same thing if I did that on the bottom. So no cube on the top or on the bottom would have paint on only one side. Same thing with if it's on the left or the right side. It's not going to have paint on just one because even this cube has paint on this side and on that side. The only ones that would have paint on just one would be the one that's in the center of each face. So this one would just have paint on this side. This one would just have paint on this side. This one would have paint just on one side. And then the same with the other 3 faces. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 is over here, 5 is on the back, 6 comes up from the bottom. So the answer to question number 1, how many cubes have paint on just one face, would be 6. Let's take a look at question number 2. How many cubes would have paint on 2 faces? Looking at our cube again, we know that any of the corner cubes wouldn't work because they already have paint on the front, the side, and the top, or the front, the side, and the bottom. So we would have to take a look at other ideas, like this one right here would have paint on this side and the bottom side. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the back 5 and 6, and then on this side 7 and 8. But what we also have would be the sides here, 9, 10, and then on the back 11 and 12. So the answer for number 2 is 12, but that's a little confusing for me. Wouldn't I be able to say this one and this one and this one and that one? Aren't those going to be the same? Shouldn't I count them both? Pause the video and try to figure out why can't I count this one and this one and this one and that one? You're right. If you look at it and I count this one and this one, which I did, I can't count this one because it's the same block, right? It's just a different face. So I couldn't count it. So the answer for that one would be 12. Once again, they're this one and this one, this one and this one. And then on the back it would be the top middle and the bottom middle. And on this left side it would be the top middle and the bottom middle. And then also, so that would be 8, and then 9, 10, and on the back would be 11 and 12 in those same spots. Now let's look at a different question. I'll try to zoom in so we can read this. You and 9 friends are going to dinner. There are 3 tables that seat 4 people. I drew a picture of that on the left. So you can see that there's 3 tables and each one has a seat on each side of it. The waiter says he will push them together so you can all sit at one giant table. You and your friends walk out and go somewhere else. Why? Please pause the video and try to figure that one out. Right. If you were to go and push these 2 tables together, then these faces, or these edges, would be touching. And if they're touching, you can't fit a seat there, right? Same thing if you put these 2 together. you can no longer put seats there because the tables would be directly next to each other touching. So now, look at how many people would be able to sit there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 8 people could sit at this giant table, and unfortunately you have 10 in your group. So that's why you wouldn't be able to sit there. I hope you were able to work through these problems on your own, and if not, you found maybe some different strategies to help you figure it out and to help you maybe problem solve. That's what we're going to be doing in this lesson. Please make sure you continue to use the manipulatives while you're in class. If you have any questions, make sure you ask, and I'll see you tomorrow.